Assalamu alaikum and good greetings. So today we'll be watching a video titled "Did Jesus Come for Gentiles?" Bible Contradiction number 13th. Now, just for context, for anyone who is wondering why I'm doing all of these Bible contradiction videos, feel free to read the description box below. Anyway, without further ado, let's watch.
Supposed Bible contradiction. Did Jesus only come for the Jews or for all people? In Matthew 10 and Matthew 15, Jesus says he only came to witness to the lost sheep of Israel, and implies he did not come for the Gentiles. However, at the end of Matthew, it says he commanded his disciples to take the gospel to all nations of the world. And according to the rest of the New Testament,
I want to read.
To take the gospel to all nations.
Go therefore and make disciples of all nations
Of the world. And according to the rest of the New Testament, the apostles seem to agree with this command. So do we have a contradiction? Not so fast. There is a particular order to how Jesus is working in fulfilling the law and atoning for sin, and this plays into it. Paul tells us the Jews were entrusted with the oracles of God, and the Jews were called to bless the world by delivering the message of God to all the nations of the world. So because of this, when God came as the Messiah, he came as a Jew to train and teach other Jews to take his message to the world.
Now, in all of this context, right, when we say he came as a Jew or something, when Jew is mentioned, is it, I assume it's the tribe or the lineage or the ethnicity, something like that, right? Not a religion, right? Because I'm always confused as to how or what Jew mean, when, because in some context people are talking about like Islam, Christian, Jewish, or if I say Judaism, then it's quite clear. Normally that's what I use to be clear that it is talking about a faith, a belief, a religion. But when you take he's a Jew, it's about the lineage, right? Or is it about the faith as well? I'm always confused by that. But when people say that Jesus was a Jew, it's about the ethnicity, correct?
And that is exactly what happened. God gave the message of salvation to Israel, and those that listened took this message to all nations of the world.
When said to Israel, is it the sons of Israel? Meaning it's a tribe, it's a group of people, right? Or when people say this, it's about a geographical location. Because in the narrative of the Quran, when it says Bani Israel, sons of Israel, because Israel is the other name of the person, right? So the sons of Israel is the tribe that comes from that lineage. So we're talking about a group of people from a certain lineage. We're not talking about geographical location.
Remember, Jesus' earthly mission was to primarily focus on fulfilling the law, atoning for the sins of the world, and training disciples to spread his message all over the world. Israel was the chosen nation to do this, so the Messiah came to Israel to prepare them for this global mission of starting the church of the Messiah that would encompass all tribes. So Jesus' mission was to fulfill the law, atone for sins, and train the apostles to go to all nations. So when he says he only came for the lost sheep of Israel, he was not claiming he was planning on excluding Gentiles. At that time, he was specifically focusing on training his Jewish disciples to go to all nations. This is why Paul later says the gospel came to the Jew first, then to the Greek. Even though that was the main focus, Jesus still ministered to Gentiles when the opportunity arose. He healed the daughter of a Gentile woman in the region of Tyre and Sidon. He went out of his way to minister to a Samaritan woman, and immediately after, he told his disciples, "Lift up your eyes and see that the fields are white for harvest." At that moment, he would have been speaking about the Samaritan people, whom they were among. He later even said he had sheep that were not of this fold, indicating there were people outside of the Jews who were called to be his. So it is clear from the context, Jesus was not against ministering to Gentiles. Thus, this supposed contradiction can be resolved.
What's the first there?
Against ministering to Gentiles. Thus,
These 12 Jesus sent out, instructed them, go nowhere among the Gentiles and enter no town of Samaritan, but go rather to the lost sheep of house Israel. Now, I think further elaboration needs to be put in context if the verse is something like this, right? Because it's not just saying I'm focusing here. It's like don't go elsewhere, right? As well as this one, I was sent only. So you can argue about the context there, but within these verses as well, is there any indication that the interaction with them is for a higher purpose, or it is not even mentioned? Because of course, coming from a Muslim perspective, right, when we see the surah that comes early on in the Makkah period, right, when the people that is in direct contact with Prophet Muhammad SAW is only the Quraysh tribe, but the message that it indicates that this is for mankind is very obvious from the get-go, and then we discuss about, so why is it first here, etc. Then we can understand the context of the strategy, what is feasible, sustainable progress, etc. But the message itself is very clear that it is meant from day one, it is meant for mankind. But here it's quite interesting where the message kind of indicate that it is exclusive, but then there's another verse that says otherwise. So on this, that is saying, because it's not just saying I'm doing or I'm teaching you, it's saying like I'm teaching only you, right? You can understand that from the wordings from me, just this is my personal take on it, right? There's you cannot just see in context from that perspective, but how is this verse, these exact verses, can be understood to not be limited to the what is verbally there, right? Because here, right, go nowhere, because this is not just what Jesus is doing, but it is also instructing others, right? So to me, this is not answered. If it's just about why Jesus is only talking to the lost sheep of house of Israel, I can understand. But when it says that he only instruct, because like Prophet Muhammad SAW never instruct, don't give da'wah to others. Anyway, so that's my thought. Maybe you can further explain what I missed. Anyway, thank you for watching. See you next time.